I arrived at the rental just after 4 p.m. Pulling up a gravel driveway that looked like it hadn't seen much traffic in weeks. My tires crunched over loose stones as I slowed the car in front of the modest two-bedroom cottage listed online as a quiet escape in the hills. The photos had made it look charming, a rustic, wood-paneled exterior, with ivy creeping around the porch posts, a cozy fire pit in the back, and wide windows that let in the light. But in person, the place felt quieter than I imagined. Not peaceful, just quiet, the kind of silence that settles too quickly when you stop the engine. I sat for a moment, listening. No birds, no distant traffic, just the ticking of my cooling engine. I stepped out, stretching my legs from the 3-hour drive, and was met by a faint, almost sweet scent of pine and something else. Something dusty and faintly metallic. The front door was already unlocked, as promised by the host, and a plain white envelope sat on the entry table inside. "Welcome. Make yourself at home." The Wi-Fi password is taped to the fridge. "Let me know if you need anything." It was signed with just a first name, Karen. The interior was neat, if slightly outdated. Hardwood floors that creaked just a little too much, thick beige carpeting in the bedrooms, and a collection of mismatched furniture that all looked like it had a story. A navy blue armchair near the window had sagging cushions, and the coffee table had a faint ring where a cup had once been left too long. I didn't mind. I wasn't here for luxury. I was here to disconnect, to finish a draft I'd been putting off for months, and maybe sleep in for once. I dropped my bags in the larger bedroom and wandered through the rest of the space. The second bedroom door was closed, and I felt a moment's hesitation before opening it, only to find a tidy guest room with a made-up twin bed and an empty closet. I told myself the pause had been nothing. I was just unused to wandering a stranger's home. There were little touches throughout the place that added a weird intimacy. A small collection of cookbooks on the kitchen shelf, a stack of DVDs by the TV, a pair of floral oven mitts, and in the living room, sitting on a narrow wooden bookshelf beside some old paperbacks, was a guest book. A real one, not a digital review page, but an actual hardcover book with a cracked leather spine and yellowing pages. I picked it up out of idle curiosity, thumbing through the first few entries. Most were exactly what you'd expect. Loved the quiet. Perfect for a weekend escape with my boyfriend. Will definitely be back next spring. But as I flipped deeper, the handwriting grew messier. One page near the back caught my attention. "We heard something at night. Scratching from the attic. No date. No name. Just that one sentence, underlined." I blinked and turned the page. The next was entirely blank, save for a single fingerprint in smudged black ink. I closed the book, slower than I meant to, and set it back exactly where it had been. Maybe someone was trying to be funny. Or creepy. Airbnb guests weren't exactly known for their restraint. Still, I rubbed my fingers together, like something had clung to the pages. I opened the fridge, found the Wi-Fi password taped inside, as promised, and connected my laptop. I told myself I wouldn't let that book get to me. I'd come here to write, and the best way to make the place feel normal was to fall into a routine. So I made tea. I unpacked. I checked my emails, responding only to the ones that couldn't wait. And then, sometime around sunset, I stood outside on the porch, sipping chamomile and watching the horizon blur into shadows. There was a stillness out here that I wasn't used to. My apartment back home was all ambient noise, sirens in the distance, the neighbor's TV through the wall. Here, even the bugs seemed restrained. And there was that smell again, faint pine, mixed with something older, like mildew and rust. I chalked it up to the wood exterior. Old homes always held on to odd scents. That night, I settled into bed with my laptop open, windows shut, and the guest book very firmly closed. Around 2:13 a.m., I woke to the sound of footsteps. Not heavy, not rushed. Just soft, deliberate steps on hardwood. Maybe 5 or 6 paces. Then nothing. I held my breath and listened. There were no more sounds. I reached for my phone, no missed messages, no notifications. Just the time, 2:14 a.m., the other bedroom, I remembered, was empty. The host had said the whole place was mine. No shared spaces. No adjacent rentals. I stayed in bed, unmoving, and waited. Maybe it was the house settling. Or a squirrel on the roof. But I never did fall back asleep. The next morning was washed in grill light. I hadn't realized how few windows the house actually had. Until I opened the blinds and saw just how little of the outside filtered in. Trees. Fog. A damp stillness pressing against the glass. I moved slower than usual, the weight of the night sitting somewhere in my shoulders. I kept replaying the sound of those footsteps. I told myself I'd dreamt it. I told myself it could have been anything. I didn't quite believe either version. Still, I made breakfast. Toast, eggs, coffee. I played a podcast to fill the air, to push back the stillness that seemed thicker than before. By late morning, I'd finally settled at the dining table, with my laptop, determined to get some work done. I reread the last chapter I'd written weeks ago, trying to reconnect with the voice I'd lost. A few lines in, I noticed something at the edge of the screen, a reflection. The laptop screen, dark around the edges, faintly mirrored the room behind me. And for just a second, I thought I saw movement. I turned fast, heart hitching, but there was nothing there. Just the same old blue armchair, the cold fireplace, the bookcase. Empty. Except the guest book. It was sitting on the floor now, not the shelf. Open to a different page. I hadn't touched it since yesterday. I stood, heart in my throat, and stepped toward it. The page was half torn, as if someone had ripped at it in a hurry. On what remained, a jagged message in pencil. He came back last night. Scratched again. We locked the attic. The word attic made my stomach turn. I hadn't seen any attic access, no pull-down ladder, no visible hatch. But that smell. Mildew and rust. It was stronger now. I started checking the ceilings. Slowly, room by room. And there it was, in the hallway near the second bedroom. A square outline, faintly visible against the ceiling. No cord to pull it down. No obvious way to reach it. I grabbed a chair from the kitchen, standing on it to push at the corners. Nothing. But the ceiling gave a little when I pressed hard on the left edge. It wasn't locked. I should have stopped there. I should have climbed down, grabbed my keys, and left. But instead, I ran my fingers along the edge. Pressed again and it swung open silently. The smell hit me like a wave. Damp wood, dust, something sharp underneath it all. The attic was pitch black. I couldn't see more than a few feet in. I didn't go up. I closed it. Slowly. Carefully. And this time, I pushed a chair underneath it. As if that would help. The rest of the day passed in a strange haze. I couldn't focus on writing. I couldn't nap. Every creak of the floor felt louder than it should. Every shift in light made me glance at the windows. Around 6 p.m., I texted the host. "Hi, quick question, is there attic access? Just noticed a hatch in the hallway." The read receipt popped up, but there was no reply. I stared at it for 10 minutes. Still nothing. I tried to eat dinner, but I wasn't hungry. I opened the guest book again, looking for answers. Even though I knew it would only make things worse. One of the earliest entries, near the very front, was from a woman named Dana. My daughter said someone was whispering to her from the ceiling vent. I checked the ceiling of both bedrooms. There were no vents. That night, I locked every door and window. I pushed a chair under the attic hatch again, even though I knew it was useless. I slept with a knife from the kitchen beside the bed. And my phone on 100% brightness. I didn't sleep long. At 3:11 a.m., I heard the sound again, soft, slow, deliberate. But this time, it didn't stop after 6 steps. It moved all the way from the hallway to just outside the bedroom door. Then tapping, not knocking, not scratching, tapping. Fingertips, light and precise. I sat up, eyes locked on the door. I didn't breathe. The doorknob twitched. Just once. And then, silence. I stayed like that until the sky began to lighten. By 6 a.m., I'd packed everything. I didn't shower. I didn't eat. I didn't even text the host again. I just grabbed my bags, unlocked the front door, and left. I didn't run. I walked fast, but not frantic. I kept telling myself, don't look behind you. Don't give it a reason. The cottage didn't appear different when I looked back from the car. It just sat there, quiet, as if nothing had happened. The guestbook was still inside, open, waiting. That was 3 weeks ago. I haven't been able to sleep without lights on since. Every now and then, around 3 a.m., I wake up, heart racing, ears straining for sounds I hope I won't hear. I didn't leave a review. But sometimes, when I check the listing, it's still there. Still available. Same photos. Same host. Only now, the guestbook is mentioned in the description. Be sure to leave a note in the guestbook. It holds so many lovely memories. I never wrote in it, but I think it remembers me anyway.